There we go. We are now recording officially as well. Life is good. Hey, everybody. Ken Krell here. Thrilled to have you with us. It is the middle of the night here in Sydney, Australia. I mean, exactly the middle of the night at 12 midnight, but it is earlier in the day in the other side of the world in the great city, the city of lights, isn't it? The city of Paris. I'm so thrilled to have Helena with us. And Helena Hansen is originally from Sweden, but now a French resident. She has been editing and reading and become a literary coach for over the past 15 years, 16 years now, from what I count on the information that I have here in my hand. And today she's going to share with you about how all that can go together and how you can put love into your writing and love into your communications. And I couldn't be more excited to have with us today, tonight, this morning, good evening, whatever time you are, Helena Hansen.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon here.
Lucky you.
Yeah, lucky me. And I'm thrilled to be here, and I hope you will understand my English, because normally I speak French all the days and Swedish, of course.
Well, your English is great, and for me, it's a thrill to be having someone in France, because French is my second, next to English, is my second favorite language. So I'm absolutely thrilled. That's why I keep coming back to you, like, oui, merci, you know. So we have to do this in English, but I hear you great. You're awesome. So I'll let you go right ahead.
Yeah, so I'm here today to talk about my love for literature and how it can make you become an excellent writer. And you can say that I brought my love for literature into my own business. And as you said, I'm a writer's coach, I'm a publisher's reader, I'm an editor. Sometimes I work as a ghost writer, and then it's a little bit more like a secret. It's not my name on the cover of the book, but it's me who has written it. And but I feel every day when I go to my office, or well, my home office. I have an office at home, and I feel this great love for what I'm doing. And I think if you love what you do, and if you're doing what you love, you get more successful and you get more love into your life. And I hope I bring a lot of love to my customers, the writers I'm working with, because I'm working with not only established writers, I'm working with aspiring writers. And I have some advice for you how to become an excellent writer. And my first advice is to just do it, because everybody can write. Even if you have doubts, I think you can do it, and you can learn how to write. And the more you write, the better you get. And that is the clue to do it. They say that in Sweden, every third person wants to write a book. And I think, I don't know how the figures are in other countries, but I think it might be the same. Lots of people, they want to write a book. And I say it's possible. Maybe you want to write a collection of short stories. That's a good beginning. Or maybe you want to write your novel, or why not a non-fiction book? Because that can be your personal business card. If you write about a topic that you're specialized in, that is great. You bring more love into your business, you get to love what you do, and the customers will love to read your book. So that's my advice, to write. And you can learn how to write in many ways. You can go to, for example, you can take classes in creative writing. Sometimes I organize actually workshops in Paris in creative writing. And as you said in the beginning, I don't know if the other heard that, but I live in Paris, the city of love, or the city of lights, but usually call it the city of love, because especially if you love literature, it's an amazing city. You can go to all those cafes where, for example, Hemingway, Scott Fitzgerald, the Beat Generation, where they sat and created their work, and you feel the ambience of love, the love of literature, and that's just amazing. And so I brought this love into my business, and I also taken a Master of Arts in creative writing from Lund University. It's in the south of Sweden. But the most difficult thing I've done is to learn French, because when I moved to France, I couldn't speak much French. Of course, I've studied French in college, but you know, when you come to France, it's not the same way people do speak. And so I took a lot of classes and courses in the French language, and then I can enter the master program in literature. And it was a challenge, but I made it, and I made it with good grades. And I think that's thanks to my love of literature. And doing what you love, it makes you can be more, you put more love in what you do, and it becomes so much more easier to do what you love. And so don't give up. It's the same thing with writing. Don't give up. Some people, they say it's 10% inspiration and 90% transpiration. And I think that might be right, because some days maybe you sit in front of your computer and you feel you don't get nothing written, but at the same time you think about your text, and you work it, you develop your text inside your head. And some days maybe you write a lot of pages. So my advice is to just do it. Sit in front of the computer and write. And my second advice is to read a lot. Because when you are reading books, you can read books in, of course, many, many ways. But I would say there are two main ways of reading a book. It's reading it like a reader. You get fascinated by the story, the characters, and so on. But you can also read it like an author. And you can study how the other writer has done when creating the book. For example, you can take a look at story structure. It's a very, very important component. Maybe one doesn't think about that when writing. And you can take a look about how the characters are developed, how they are created. Because a character, there needs to be a development. A character should not be the same in the beginning of the story as in the end. And you can also take a look at the setting, the detail, the style, and that can make you find your own literary voice. And I think it's amazing reading books. So the next time when you read a book, I recommend you to read it like a writer, and read your favorite book again and see how the writer has done. And maybe you say, oh, it's so hard to write a book, it takes so long time. But you can write a book in many ways. And for example, like Stephen King, he says at least that he's a organical kind of writer, That means he doesn't plan anything. He's just writing his stories. But he has a lot of experience too, so that comes into the picture. But you have, for example, Larry Brooks, who has written the excellent book Story Engineering. And there you can learn from handbooks in writing, and he is focusing on structure, on characters, and everything you need. So you have to feel for yourself which is the best way for you to write, because there are so many ways, but don't forget to read. And my third advice is to letting other people read what you've written, because it can be lonely. It can be lonely sitting at your home office or at a cafe writing, and you feel you're a bit alone. And I think you will feel the text gets also more alive. It's become a real story when you let somebody else reading it. So that's my third advice. And it's very good to let's say, friends or family read your text, but you can also contact a writer's coach. And maybe you wonder, what is a writer's coach doing? And me, when I'm working with customers or clients or writers or people who want to become writers, we set up deadlines, they send in text. I look at a lot of components like story, structure, characters, setting, details, language, and not at least the thing to show, not tell. That is very important, because you have to work with pictures, or you don't have to, but the book gets more interesting, if you ask me, if the reader can see pictures in front of him or her when he or she is reading the book. And that's something that is very, very important. And I'm reading text mostly in Swedish, but also in English and in French, of course. And that is my advice, to let your text out of of your computer and sending it to a professional writer's coach. And I don't know if I should talk about my gift to you who are listening, because I'm offering you, because I'm so happy to be here. I'm thrilled to be here talking, and I think it's great, and I want to encourage everybody to write their story, because I think everybody has a story inside of them that needs to get out, to be read. And so you can contact me, and you will get 1.5 hours of free online writing coaching. And I will also get give you feedback on 1,000 words. And there's a link. We will put it on the side, on the page after, so you can subscribe to my newsletter. But you can also contact me through the contact form on my web page. And I will be happy to help you, because I feel this passion, and I hope you feel passion for literature and writing too, because that is all my life is circling around literature and writing, and that is my passion. I think it's as yes, passionate to help other people to write and develop their text, to refine their text as when I'm writing myself. And so I think I've chosen a great job, and I fulfilled my dream. And I think maybe of you who are listening, you have this dream of writing a book, and I say it's possible.
I'd say it's possible too, with someone like you, Helena, as a coach. That's fantastic. And I'm grateful for your being here. I do want to jump in for the moment and clarify something for everyone watching, because Helena is speaking with massive heart, but I don't think she recognized exactly what she just gave away. And so I'm going to put a limiter on it to protect her, because she is no way in the world that she can manage the bandwidth of all these people coming in for a 90-minute session with her complimentary. That is above and beyond and crazy. So crazy love. She's in Paris. She's overwhelmed by love today. So I'm going to say that it will be limited to the first few people that actually come on board to enroll with her in that incredible offer. And so when you see on her website that it's, oops, sorry, but maybe she has something else for you instead that she can scale, that'll be where we are. So it's a first mover kind of thing, but I've got to protect you, because
Thank you.
I've seen this happen before. And the last thing I want you to do is go, oh no, I really didn't mean to do that. So yeah, anything that when we do talk about giving away a gift, the last thing I want anyone to do is create a challenge for themselves where there's no limitation. And so yeah, I just wanted to jump in. I was like, oh no, she didn't do that. Because I'm like, I'm signing up right now. I want that sucker right now.
Yeah, you can do
Right.
that.
So before we go ahead and change that on the page, whoever's watching us right now, get in there right now and do it, because otherwise it's going to be gone.
Yeah.
Because I
And it
love.
doesn't mean, for me, it doesn't mean you have to book your time just now. We can planify it for maybe people can send in text in some month, because to be honest, I'm a kind of popular publisher's reader and a writer's coach. So I have a lot of job and I have a lot of text to
That's
read. So I'm
that's
very
my point.
thankful.
That's my point. We can't have
Yeah,
you.
that you are
Right. We can't
helping
have
me
that.
to.
So what I'll recommend is this. And because we're producing it, we can jump in and we can kind of help make those rules. So I want to encourage Helena to, when we finish the interview today and we finish her session, she'll scale it to the point where, and this is a lesson for everybody. I teach this in our Pride program, which stands for Produce Ridiculously Irresistible Digital Events. It's to make sure that what you do offer, you don't get yourself in trouble for. So, and
No.
when I say in trouble is like, oh much, I promised too much, because we want to give. I mean, that's the whole idea. It's really sharing your love.
Yeah.
But if we overshare it, then we create a nightmare for ourselves. And by the way, this event is a perfect example, because what was right, Zor? It's a totally perfect example of oversharing and overhelping. I did not really intend to do a 24/7, oh my gosh, 300 speaker kind of an event. And so it came from here, from wanting to help Zor help his folks in his family and his village in South Sudan. So I'll
Yeah.
recommend that what you do is you have a redeem by date, and you see that with any kind of contest or free gift anyway from other people. So that's totally okay. So let them redeem by a certain date, then you'll deliver it within a certain time frame. So there's an expectation, and limit it to say the first 10, 20, 30, 400, whatever you want to use, because you never
Yeah.
know, especially when our VIPs get lifetime access to this recording. They can look at it next year and go, oh, I want that, you know,
Yeah.
right? So we have to make sure we protect you, because you're editing from the heart and you're always busy. So I don't think you're recognizing that, this could be, oh my goodness, what you've given, what you've
Yes,
offered,
I'm aware of that.
right? What you've offered is so incredibly generous that I just want to make sure that you don't like, what did I do? So as you guys watch, understand something. This is a limited offer, and a first come, first serve. So I can protect this natural beauty here of a human that is hoping change the world by editing and crafting literature for her clients that can truly make a gigantic difference and shift people's experience from where they are right now to where they can be, all because of the way words and stories appear in print. And that is an incredible gift that you have.
Thank you. Because I want to spread the love, my love for literature, and I want to, how do you say, encourage people to write.
Sure. So let me ask you a question. If I was going to be an aspiring writer, and I guess to some degree I am, I've already got a couple books that are out already and I've self-published. But if I wanted to do the kind of stuff that you're doing, not coaching people, but I wanted to be like when you were clients, first of all, what type of writing do you work with? Are you fiction, nonfiction? Does it make a difference?
No, I'm working with both.
Interesting.
And yeah, but there are some other kind of things you look at or analyze if you're working with a non-fiction book. You're working, it's a lot about structure, it's the title, it's the language. You should be kind of teaching something that is easy for the audience, for the reader to understand, to not to some people they want to complicate the language because, but I think you should make it simple.
Yes. Oh,
And
yes.
that can be the hard part. To some people, to readers, they will understand and they will get more out of the book. And yeah, so there are some other things I analyze when it comes to nonfiction books because it's two different types of writing. Maybe it's not so much show, not tell, because you're not writing a story, but at the same time, it's a kind of storytelling. So, but there are two different kind of approaches, you can say.
As a nonfiction writer, and that's kind of my domain, I absolutely agree with you that the power of story is still critical because people remember the story. So if we're
Yeah,
going to talk about whatever the topic may be, training a dog, then telling the
yeah,
story about how Billy trained, Biffy the dog or whatever, and
yeah,
first he did this and first he did that, and then and then I taught him this one little thing. Oh my god, that people remember, right? So it's
right.
really important to do that. And then, as you said, very important distinction for every one of us is to remember, number one, who your audience is. If it's a scientific journal,
Exactly.
right? If it's a scientific journal, you can talk in that very high language. But if you're talking to common people like us, then talk in natural language. Don't try to impress us with big words because that you lose the audience there. And
Yeah,
it's funny, as a writer, I'm a writer, but I'm more of a copywriter. And when you write copy to convert, to get people to take action, you got to write it at like the fourth, fifth, sixth grade level so people
yeah,
can read it. Using big words that say you're a genius doesn't get you the audience. So,
no. And
right?
that is, I would say it's very important too in non-fiction or in fictional, sorry, in fictional books to know who your audience is. Because if you're writing a fantasy book, it's not the same people who wants to read a thriller or a romance story. You need to limit your audience because that's a common mistake. You think, oh, I'm writing for everybody, but it's so hard to englobe all people in an audience. You have to know who your audience, who you want to write to or write for, and adapt your language, of course, after your audience. Even in fictional books.
It's funny, so funny that you're mentioning that because as a marketing guy, we talk about the right fit audience and knowing who your customer avatar is and eliminating those. It's like Michelangelo in that slab of marble. How did he find David? He took out what wasn't, right? And you're talking about writing to the correct audience or choosing your audience and writing to them. It's interesting. I don't think people connect that writing is the same thing. It's knowing, Stephen King, knowing who his reader is,
Yeah.
to be able to write towards that person, whoever that market is. I don't even know who that market is for Stephen King, how you would describe their reader. But that's amazing. And I don't know that people recognize that it goes so far into everything that we do is getting real specific to knowing your customer, knowing your client, and serving them. And
Exactly.
yeah, imagine, well, it's really interesting knowing your client. So you go to a concert, right? And when the artist wants to play new music, we in the audience don't want new music. We still want Goodbye Yellow Brick Road at an Elton John concert. We don't want the new stuff. The hell with that. We still want, blah, blah, blah. And Elton John's probably so tired. He wants to have that road be torn up, but Yellow Brick Road has made him a lot of money, so as a writer, same kind of idea. So
Yeah.
what kind of books excite you the most?
What kind of books? I will say I'm not specialized in any type of genre, or how you pronounce it in English.
Genre is correct.
Genre
Oh, I like it with
in French.
genre.
Euh,
Très bien. It's fantastic.
ouais,
It's
c'est très
wonderful.
bien, on dit comme ça.
Merci. So I know I see, I get excited about that. That's just, I'm one of those
Yeah,
francophiles. Yeah.
I love working with all kind of books because I think it's the same kind of craftsmanship. Because I think what's important to think about too is that you can learn how to write, because some people think it's only inspirational, it's only genius who can write a book, and but this is something you can learn how to do. And of course, if you read a feel good book, there's certain expectations from the reader. There should, for example, always be a happy ending. If you are writing a criminal story, you want to know who the killer is, or
Yeah.
yeah, because if you are not writing like a, I don't know, trilogy or something, but there is something that's important in every type of book. Um,
Helena,
and
sorry.
Go ahead, Zor.
Yeah, so I was gonna ask. I love your presentation. It's awesome. I was gonna ask, when you're writing a book or when you're writing whatever, are you a type of writer that normally start with outline and follow the outline, or are you the person that just go with the creativity of the story?
And as you answer that, understand we have less than 30 seconds left. So before we have to go to our next guest. So
yeah, I will make a quick answer. I'm planifying because mostly I'm writing for other people, so it's what they want to write that I'm focalizing on. So they need to know what I should write as a ghostwriter, for example. But you can do both. It's when you're writing a book yourself, you do what feels the best for you, because there is no right or wrong in writing a book, I think, or the way you write a book, but there are components you need to think about.
awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. So unfortunately we've got to end our stream right over here. We have another stream coming up in just another second here, actually right now. So
Yeah.
Helena Hansen, thank you so much for being with us today. I love you. You're awesome. A pleasure
Yeah, lots
to
of
have met
love,
you.
Bisou from Paris, and to you all. And thank you for letting me speaking here
It's been an honor
today.
to have you. It's been an honor to have you. Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup.